Hello everyone, this is Prayana Subba, Assistant Professor in the Department of History, Salesian College, Sonada, tuning into Radio Salesian EduPod's lecture series. This is the second lecture for the topic Emergence of Successor States After the Downfall of Mughals. So in the last class, we saw how after the decline of the mighty Mughal dynasty, the other regional powers came into existence. The Mughals started falling weak, and that opportunity was taken over by the local powers, and they started gaining independence. We had categorized these independent states or regional states into three categories. First one was the formed by provincial governors. Second one was by the rebel states, and that third one was the autonomous states. In the first section, we were discussing about Bengal, and we saw in the last class how Bengal came into existence under it rose to power under the able leadership of Murshid Quli Khan and the other several factors that led to the growth of Bengal. And we also saw Bengal never detached itself from the imperial authority, but then according to the observation of Philip Calkins, we saw that how Bengal was dominated by the cooperation of the local forces or rather than the imposition of the rule from the outside. So Bengal was not being dominated by the forces from the outside, but it was being cooperatively ruled by the local powers. Local powers in the sense we talked about the rise of the bankers, traders, jamindars, traders like that. So, but the drawback was also there. The rise of these local powers like merchants, traders, bankers, it also meant the decline of the power of the Nazim, because in the year 1739 and 40, we see that they formed a coup and they ousted the Sarfaraz Khan, who was appointed the new Nazim. He was the grandson of Murshid Quli Khan, and he had newly become Nazim of the province. But then what happened was these powerful powers, what they did was they organized a coup, and then Sarfaraz was ousted, and his own army commander Oliver the Khan took over and became the Nawab of Bengal. Why he was able to gain that position was because he was supported by the house of Jagat Seth and also by some powerful jamindars, whereas on the other hand Sarfaraz was inefficient administrator, plus he alienated the house of Jagat Seth and he lost the support of few powerful officials also. So he lost the support of these new rising powers, whereas on the other hand we see Oliver the Khan had that support, and most importantly he had military in his hand, so he took over the power. Later on he obtained the imperial sanction from Mughals also to rule over Bengal. But during his time only we see that there was a virtual break from the center also, like the peshkas which the Bengal used to send regularly and the only source of revenue during a time of crisis also, that stopped. And then major appointments were also done by Nawab himself. There was no further any consent taken from the Mughals. But then formally that kind of defiance or any formal notice was not there. And then we see for everything in in the local politics, Oliver the Khan was an autonomous ruler. He did everything quite freely, like he was not under the imperial pressure. He had complete authority over Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. But it was not always a flowery days. He also had many challenges. Among the challenges, one was the Maratha raids. Marathas are quite famous in Indian history as raiders. So they invaded Bengal a lot of time, causing immense damage of life and property. And ultimately, Oliver the Khan was forced to sign treaty with them, a treaty of compromise in 1751, where he agreed that he would pay tax to Chauth to Marathas and also was ready to hand over Orissa. Another challenge that Oliver the Khan faced was Afghan rebellion. During his rule, Mustafa Khan in Patna 1748 rebelled against his authority. That was quite a great challenge for him, but then Oliver the Khan eventually suppressed that rebellion also and recovered Patna. But because of these challenges, what happened was the trade, which was very much affluent in Bengal, it got disrupted for a while. Okay, but then it was for a short time only. It recovered back again. By massive increase of Europeans in engaging into this trade, both corporate trade of companies and private trade of their officials. Though the number of European traders in the market was not as big that they could challenge the Indian traders, but then it signified the beginning of European dominance in the trading world of Bengal. Later on, they were the ones who dominated over all the trading world. Next, after what we see in the history of Bengal was death of Ali Wordi Khan. In the year 1757, he dies. Okay, but before he dies, he nominates his grandson Sirajuddaula, son of his daughter. Sirajuddaula. Sirajuddaula was very young when he was nominated. When he became the Nawab, he was of 17 years only. He was very much energetic and very much ambitious. And then his rule was being challenged by the court factionalism, and there were many other people also, like his own aunt Ghasiti Begum and the Faujdar of Purnia, Sokat Zang, and many commercial people, jamindars. They were threatened by this young, ambitious Nawab. So, there was the polity in Bengal was destabilized, and then the advantage was being taken by East India Company. And then, taking the advantage of these court politics, what happened was there was Plasi conspiracy. Nawab's own military commander, Mir Jafar, he sided with English, and in the battle he did not fight at all. Like he went into the battle, but when the battle was being fought, he did not fight at all. So he traded his own Nawab, and at the end Sirajuddaula was defeated and he was killed in the battle. And that is how Bengal, like next Nawab, obviously Mir Jafar was made the next Nawab, because obviously this English could not be the Nawabs. So, but he was Nawab just for the namesake only. He was a puppet ruler, in fact. So that is how this the transition happened in Bengal. Bengal went from the hands of Mughal to those of the British, and completely lost its autonomy. Next power that we have, which rose into prominence, was after the weakening or the decline of the Mughals, was Hyderabad. If we look into the political background of Hyderabad, the autonomous kingdom of Hyderabad was founded by Chinkulij Khan. He was also titled as Nizam-ul-Mulk Asaf Jah I by Aurangzeb. He was the one who was the leader of the Timurid party in the imperial court, the one who united Turanis and Iranis against the Sayyid brothers, the famous kingmakers, the Indian Muslim factions in the imperial court, who were responsible for the death of Farooq Shiar and the installation of Muhammad Shah. So, under his leadership, they defeated and killed Sayyid brothers in the year 1720. Between the years 1722 to 24, he was appointed as the Wazir of Muhammad Shah, but then he was always attracted by the autonomous principality in the Deccan. At that time, in Hyderabad, Mubarak Khan was appointed as the governor. He was not the governor of only Hyderabad, but of the whole Deccan. So he was ruling quite independently, and Nizam-ul-Mulk, who was looking into the opportunity, he was no longer interested in the imperial court, and then he saw opportunity in the Deccan, and in the year 1723 he challenged Mubarak Khan and he defeated him, and he took over the Subadarship of Deccan. Then slowly he started consolidating his power around Hyderabad. Finally, in the year 1740, it took a lot of years, like from 1723 to 1740, he finally left North Delhi and he went down to settle in Deccan, and he consolidated his power over Hyderabad. Chinkulij Khan, or the Nizam-ul-Mulk's administration in Deccan, was quite famous. He subdued all the unruly zamindars in the Deccan. He showed tolerance towards the Hindus who had economic power in their hands. Hyderabad witnessed the emergence of new regional elite who supported the Nizam. So, Nizam-ul-Mulk was being supported by the local powers. By the year 1748, when he died, Hyderabad was recognizable power in the Deccan politics. Though they acknowledged the Mughal suzerainty, that was only for the symbolic sense. Like coins were still being minted in the Mughal name. Khudwa was also being read in the Mughal Badshah's name, but for all practical purposes like conducting wars, signing treaties, conferring mansabs, making imperial appointments, for everything Nizam acted independently, and there was no reference to emperor. But then the days were not always flowery. There was an era of crisis also after the death of Nizam. What happened was, here also Maratha raids, they started troubling the province. That was a major source of anxiety for Hyderabad. And not only that, but then there was war of succession also. There was battle between his son, Nizam-ul-Mulk's son, Nasir Jung, and his grandson, Muzaffar Jung, for the throne, of course. And then Muzaffar Jung, he emerged victorious, but with the help of French, who was trying to get the advantage of the situation. And after Muzaffar Jung became the next ruler, he gave a handsome monetary reward to French and also some territorial concessions. But that was not the end of crisis. Marathas, Mysore, Carnatics, they all had dispute over the territories, the bordering territories, over with Hyderabad. But we see that Hyderabad witnessed a rise under Nizam Ali Khan. From the year 1762 to 1803, Nizam Ali Khan became the ruler of Hyderabad. And during this quite a lot of time of his rule, he settled dispute with neighbors, and there was political stability also in Hyderabad. He established a kind of patron-client relationship with regional powers, or say semi-autonomous rulers, like the Mughals always did with the regional powers, the patron-client relationship, who used to pay annual peshkars to the Nizam. He also gained the support of traders, moneylenders, and military aristocracy, who played an important role providing valuable financial and military support to the Nizam. Mughal system underwent through substantial changes in Hyderabad. There were intermediate revenue farmers, but then they were not very much pressurized by Nizam. Jagirdari became hereditary. Mansabdari retained few of its features, not all. And then there was change in the composition of nobility as well, like military aristocracy were few, but the new expertise in revenue and financial managements were preferred. Power remained mainly widely diffused among these new classes. By the end of the 18th century, Hyderabad represented a relatively new political system with a whole range of new participants who had diverse origin and social background. So we see Hyderabad had rise under the leadership of Chinkulij Khan, who was frustrated over the imperial politics, and he thought it to be wise to carve out an autonomous principality for himself in the Deccan. So he tried his luck, and then he slowly and gradually gained power. And then under his successors there was an era of crisis, but then under Nizam Ali Khan again we see Hyderabad was rising into power. So here we'll end. We have completed with the two principalities or the provinces who later on gained independence after the weakening of Mughals, that was Bengal and Hyderabad. In the next class we'll talk about Awadh. Thank you so much.
This and other episodes of Radio EduPods, Radio for Learning, are available on Listen to My Radio app at 6 p.m. from Monday to Friday and at 6 a.m. from Tuesday to Saturday. All episodes are available on Salesian TV YouTube channel. Share, like and subscribe Salesian TV, the ultimate learning resource channel.